Well, I'm very pleasure that so many people here coming to and coming here and listen to my speech today. Today I'm gonna talk about PhoneGap application development and how we can develop incredible HTML5 hybrid mobile apps, which is actually what I did with my experience. So today it's something like maybe a little bit long journey. What I have been doing and how I'm making my product very high quality. So let me start with my introduction. So actually, I'm how do I say? I'm actually living in Tokyo. I'm not a person here. I haven't I've even lived in the United States, but I just wanted to describe what I'm doing because I'm actually a PhoneGap engineer in Tokyo. I founded a company 12 years ago. When I was in university, I was doing. I like computers. I like software programming. I did many and that just made me create a company. And my company is making many applications for Japanese clients. All of them are actually major companies in Japan, like public company or well-known companies. And I'm also writing, many PhoneGap related books or, server-side technologies like PHP or Ruby. Well, Ruby is also, Japan-based product. So we like Ruby and PHP. And I also like PhoneGap, kind of. And actually, the good thing is that because I'm writing so many books or magazines, because I want to introduce good technology to Japanese people who don't know, who can read English. And that's something I've been doing so far, 12 years. Probably the first ever PhoneGap book actually, sold in stores is actually mine, but that's Japanese, so unfortunately I cannot introduce this to you so much. So we are a PhoneGap company. I like PhoneGap very much. I introduced to Japan in 2009, which was like back in 5 years ago now, and I loved it so much. I need to make PhoneGap more better, so that eventually come up with creating some, IDEs or, debuggers or something, everything, that we would need to create a PhoneGap application. So that's what I'm here for today. Want to describe more about what we're doing. But actually, honestly, not many people here in the United States don't know about my product or even my company. So that's why I'm doing, kind of evangelist and trying to make my journey more better to understand to the people here, because I think that technology doesn't matter in Japan or whether in United States, or actually in Japan the app market is actually the world largest application market we have in Japan. But I think you guys don't know about any Japanese applications, because most of the Japanese clients or developing companies are just intended for creating Japanese domestic games or apps. But there are so many applications made in Japan, provided for Japan, made by Japanese. So we are providing tool called like Onsen UI Monaca. That's one thing. We also are actually the official translator of the PhoneGap document into Japanese. So we are helping them since back in 2009. So all the documents are actually my teammates' translations. So actually, well, number one platform is actually PhoneGap in terms of cross-platform. This is a slightly older survey report, but it says that 34% of the developer mindshare in terms of mobile cross-platform technology is actually PhoneGap. So everybody, and there is another survey that more than 90% of the mobile developers are thinking that HTML5 has the future. HTML5 is the future. So that's why I think everybody coming to this conference and learn about HTML5, because I think all of you guys here are very promising to HTML5, and so do I. And that's the reason why PhoneGap is getting more recognition, or maybe Cordova. So PhoneGap and Cordova is actually obviously the same thing actually. By the way, 5 years ago it was actually PhoneGap. There was no Cordova at the moment. The Adobe, when Adobe acquired, they named it to Cordova for the open source part. So I'm both helping Cordova and PhoneGap, but essentially those two are the same product in terms of the technical so it's just a marketing, difference. And somewhat idea I have that PhoneGap. So 5 years ago I have somewhat idea of it will become more dominant. So that's why I did so many application development using that technology back in 2010 or so I have so many experience making that PhoneGap application. And this is my first app. It's introduced 2010 for major Japanese mobile carrier called KDDI. Some of you guys maybe know, or maybe au, which is a brand name of their company. They have so many subscriptions. Second largest mobile carrier in Japan. They asked me to develop an application, and they don't request me to create a hybrid application actually, but we decided to go with hybrid. I just wanted to test whether hybrid works or not at the moment. PhoneGap was still beta, but I thought that was future. So well, it's actually very, very brave for me actually back in that time, because everybody didn't know about PhoneGap or hybrid apps, but I actually trusted and created it. And then but there's actually a reason why I go with hybrid. There are a couple of reasons actually, but the biggest reason is that actually I can maintain the program up to date. This is so important back in that time. Well, the Apple did very long time, examining application, and if there is any bugs on the on your application, we need to replace it. Right, but we need to submit again and again if we just go with native. But if we go with hybrid, we can actually replace the content, and actually the application behaves differently. So it's very easier for me to to use that technology to keep my program up to date, and because the user don't need to also keep up to date, it's automatically updated, right? So it was a very good feature for me. So that's why I did it. And one more reason why this is important is because as a development company myself, I don't want my clients to be to be worried about updates. They don't want if I'm doing updates frequently, they may be thinking that our programs are making something bad, or there's some bugs behind that. But if I can do it secretly without letting them know, it's more easier for me to update. So that's why this is very helpful information feature for me. And one more thing was that there was so many CMS like WordPress. And there are many Japanese-based CMS frameworks at that time, which is focusing for web pages. So it's more easier if I create in HTML5 and integrate with those CMS, because they are actually writing in terms of tags instead of the like markdowns or the fancy the marks. So that's why HTML5 fits well with their CMS. But actually, it was very, very tough, very tough. I needed to support Android 1.6 and 2.0, 2.1, 2.2. It was actually terrible. It's like, like climbing up the mountain with, jeans and sneakers. I obviously, there was actually no tool for that at that moment. I just need to, do whatever I know using my technology. Just on web view, right? So it was just a web view. So but it was actually more than a web view. But there was no tools for that. So I just needed to do something very, very hard experience to create that application. I think all of you guys here, if you have made with application with PhoneGap, I think you have similar thing of idea what I mean, right? But somehow, I managed, and our team is managed to develop that application. Well, I got quite good satisfaction from the client, especially the updating and the ease of maintenance. I got so many complimentary from the client actually. But actually, there was more bigger obstacle from that company, the telephone carrier. So what was it? Is that actually the client was asking us to pre-install that application to all of their devices that they're going to tell it. which I'm going with hybrid, right? So in Japan, so these are the list of the devices at the moment, and they force us to pre-install my application to all of the devices because the application was very good. They want it to be publicly available and make some business over there. And more than 10 devices are out of the market every half years in Japan. So lots of devices are coming and they're sending to my office, and people are keep testing. Even like Android. Actually, if you say it has a stock Android browser, actually, and it's running on Android 2.3 or 4.0. Actually, there's couple of improvements from the mobile the device vendors. So the device vendors actually are tweaking, maybe in their terms they're tuning up the web view, but in my sense they may spoil some compatibility that makes very annoying for me to for our team to test it. And so all devices have their personalities or maybe bugs actually, and we need to take care of those glitches or diversities or fragments to those devices and make that happen and ship it, install it to all the pre-installed devices. But I cannot leave hybrid because PhoneGap or HTML5 was the way. I was still thinking like that. So I just thought I need to go with this team and go on this way. So actually, this was my beginning of my journey. So from here, I decided, so I need to do something better than this and to create an incredible application, right? It was actually obvious that, the HTML5 is a way to go, but look like, I don't know how I can make an application with HTML5 or PhoneGap. I think most of you guys know about that. I mean, you know about HTML5, you know about JavaScript, you know about CSS, but if in terms of creating a good mobile application using those technologies, it's something complete different thing. So let's think about that. How we can make an incredible app. Is it like a better user experience, or is it the speed or performance, or is it user satisfaction or number of users? So I was keep thinking with my team. So how we can make it incredible, how we can make it very efficient. And actually my conclusion, well, the truth is actually not like a stability or app performance or like a user satisfaction at the bottom line actually, because actually those things we can actually overcome. There are so many people who are actually confronting the same weird behavior of the bug, browser bugs, or maybe how to tune up their JavaScript. There are lots of articles for that. But the real important things, I think, was only the two things. We need to have faster development environment. Development speed is the most important thing because we need to keep development cycles as much speed as much iteration as possible until the before the release of the program. And one more thing is to provide a easier and deeper debugging. So we need something like a inspector or like a doctor, which automatically checks my application is whether good or bad, checks if this performs well or bad kind of thing. So if we don't have that, we don't know what we can improve. So these two things. So the debugging tells me what we can improve, and the speed is important because we can do that reiteration very, very quicker. So even if we don't have them, we still can make application, but it's a long way to go. I think that's why Mark Zuckerberg several years ago said that HTML5 was something he cannot trust at that moment. I think that's just because they don't have those tools. Well, even we don't have tools. Well, in the world there's no tools like that. So that's why I think. So what we do, so we made PhoneGap debugger in the beginning back in 2011. I remember. So. Well, the important thing was that I want an app which does live reloading. Live reloading is very good feature. Like maybe some of you guys know, when you edit something and when you save it, the content automatically goes to the your real device and refreshes. This is very important because there are like 20 devices we need to test on. I think this is extraordinary, something very stupid, but still we need to cope with 2 or 3 devices at one time. But we need to install and check all the time one by one. Right? We just want to save it and transfer the changes, and the debugger refreshes that content. So that's super good. So that's why we started from here. The typical build process takes a minimum of like 10 seconds, or this live reloading takes about 0.1 seconds. So it's actually 100 times faster. So that's why our development speed increases heavily by using this live reloading process. And we also, get out of USB connections, because USB connections is very good. We can have more good information from there, but typically in my case, in my team, there are testers and there are developers, and the tester wants to test immediately when the developer changes something, like live reloading. So that's why we remove all the USB connections, everything done by using Wi-Fi connection, so that it automatically reloads on the tester side when the developer changes something. And it actually worked very good in my case. And I think it does evolve in your case as well. And also, multiple devices at once. So that's something we did. So we create a cockpit for creating PhoneGap application back in 2010 or 11, and make it as a debugger. I enabled that debugger to see DOM inspector or JavaScript console. And if we plug it to the USB, we can also see more detailed information from there. So it's something, the app at that moment was something look like this. It's very simple, but the tester can see, can have their own list of projects, and what they need to do, just pick one of the project, and it immediately syncs from the development server and downloads and execute. So very simple application, but it does work very good. When the developer changes something, this debugger just live reloads. So this automates our efficiency and improves it very much. And also, then we've made a browser-based tool to make it more easier for my team. And why this is important? It's because so PhoneGap or HTML5 is actually a web-derived technologies. So people are assuming that there is a web server, like what we have been doing in my company for 10 years. But in reality, PhoneGap or Cordova is a local development. So actually, the technologies are same. We are using HTML5, JavaScript, CSS, but the development process is totally different. The developer or designer needs to cope with Xcode or maybe Eclipse at that moment. It was actually a very bad experience. We even cannot, set up their own environment. So that's why I try to, make something better for my team to create more efficiently. And that results in creating this kind of, web-based IDE for my internal use. So we have like a, place to edit something. We have a debugging tool connected here, and auto-completion like Emmet, Zencoding, lots of plugins like you can just click and enable jQuery or jQuery mobiles or something like that, and also integrating with a debugger and see what's going on over here. So now the debugger is sending information to the IDE, and the debugger, and the developer and the tester can be, very separated. And also the designers are very happy because they don't need to set up any environment. So it made my team very, very happy. Not only the designers, but the command lines are now turned to GUIs. So it's more easier for some of my teammates actually, and I also provide a way to develop locally, not by using our web IDE, but still doing the live reload. So it also helped our professional engineers to develop their own applications for the clients. And actually, so this is just a story that I did, but I actually decided to provide this to users because I love PhoneGap so much. I said, as I said, I wrote many books. I contributed to their projects so much, and I just wanted to do something better, much better for the users. And unfortunately, in Japan, the users don't know about English so much. So we just did in Japanese. But fortunately, more than like 40,000 users in Japan are actually registered and start using our product to create their own applications. So the funny thing is that when you come to Japan, maybe the developers don't know about PhoneGap, but they know about Monaca. So Monaca is the way to create cross-platform applications rather than a PhoneGap. So it's totally different thing here, but yeah, it's very silly thing. But unfortunately, not many people here know about us. So that's why, I'm here and let you know what I'm doing this. So this is something, I want to prove myself. So now the Monaca is now turning into global. So again, so actually all improvements do improve. So this is very important. Well, I think it's not just a performance or not just a user interface or something, that you bugs your mind in terms of browser, creating PhoneGap application, but actually, so they have somewhat way to overcome actually because the technology is is getting better. We have more tools available, so yeah. So and we also have a way to write in native code using Cordova plugin, and and that actually is a powerful technology. So you can ideally do whatever you like to do, what you can do with native. But these faster development speed and easier and deeper debugging, these are something that cannot be solved by the library itself. So that's why I needed to create them. But now I had another issue. That was actually user interface. So, in Japan, like Toyota, so everyone demands Toyota quality. They need, my application behaves excellent all the way. But if they say, my PhoneGap app don't look like native, I'm very depressed. I need to do something better. And actually, back in like 2012, I remember the Android native UIs were not as good as right now. So it was back in like Android 2.3s. It was not as good as right now. So that's why my clients don't argue me so much about the about the performance or user interface at the moment, because it was actually so fine compared to the Android native. But now, maybe after Android 4, so they all want HTML5 apps as polished, more well done than the previous versions, and behave more like a native. So now I'm stuck in how I was thinking how I can do it. So, and actually, I think the major part was the browser bugs. Like some CSS3 and vendor-specific attributes actually had critical problems at the moment, like position fix or momentum scrolling. But it's actually a PhoneGap application. It's a hybrid. So the power of hybrid is that we can use native APIs to overcome those problems. So because I want to pursue my, how I can do well with PhoneGap, I started to create native components. So like navbars, tab bars, widgets, and buttons, like page navigations, context menu, hardware keys, all those are tools, APIs that will require to combine your PhoneGap application to look like native. We created and we open sourced. So again, my contribution needs to be something more easier for you guys to use it. So I just did open source and see how it turns to. And actually, the good thing is that I have several applications. They created several applications using our framework in Japan, and most excitedly, the left 8 application called 8 is a company which released 2012. It's actually has become #1 selling business application in App Store or Google Play, and actually still it is. So I'm very happy that they took HTML5 as a technology and using our technology to create hybrid apps. But that's a name of few. Actually, there are lots of applications in Japan created by our native UIs and our tools. But actually, honestly, I thought that was a wrong approach recently, actually. Because the native components are very good because it has performance. It really looks like native because it's native, but it's just a simple multi-page applications that you navigate through a tag. So instead of a tag, we create a new web view and make a screen transition. So there is another web view coming from the right and using native transition to scroll animation. So it's very look like native. But the thing is that it's very difficult to maintain the state, or it's very difficult to pass variables to the next page. Well, there's some tricks actually, but well, still we need to cope with that, and we need to find some proper way to do it. And well, the bottom line is we need to aware more about what it is doing on native side. So things are getting to become more complicated, and I thought it's not maybe a right way to do, because I might making something more complicated and maybe more performant but more complicated or more difficult to understand solution. And I was actually thinking how I can solve it. But actually, honestly, HTML5 is also approach is difficult. Like JavaScript code easily getting spaghetti code. The response is slow. Slow page rendering, smooth page navigation. Is difficult. Input tags don't feel native. Fixed top and bottom part fixed is very difficult, and we need to also support smartphone and tablet support. So to name a few. So there also again lots of troubles when we create only HTML5, but gladly they now have a way to overcome. Like if we say we want to avoid spaghetti code, we can actually use if that is a callback chain, we can use promise technology, which is going to be the standard for now. Or maybe you can use TypeScript or some other compile language that will compile into JavaScript to create more cleaner code, right? So in my company, so our team is more suggesting to use TypeScript because it's more easier to create, more easier to understand the source code. And also, if you want to care about the responsiveness, it's typically because something called 300 millisecond delay. So when you tap something, the browser wait if that is a single tap or double tap. So they're waiting actually 300 milliseconds. Oh, by the way, I will actually upload this slide to my slide share. So yeah, I don't know. I will do it right away after this. So you don't need to actually take pictures. But yeah, feel free. I'm very happy if you take pictures. Yeah, that makes me a little bit confident that I'm doing something good. So use touch event. This is very important. There's different event just intended for touch start events, and then there is a library called fast click or something else to speed up your response. But just that's a response. So if you use those events, your application will get much quicker response actually. So it's just that. If you're confronting with the slow rendering, you need to think about reflow. I remember there's in another place famous Steve Newcomb is presenting his famous framework. So what it does is actually this thing. They're combining this rendering speed and the smoother navigation. And we also doing the same technology in Japan, but so we are doing heavily relying on GPU renderings or the CPU rendering, but doesn't make the browser reflow. So reflow is a kind of process where when you change the structure of HTML by maybe using JavaScript or Ajax, the browser started to calculate everything again, the coordinates, the position, or maybe the width over the length, or whatever. But if you actually if you do something like position absolute, it means you want to put it right here, so it doesn't require browser to calculate that place, that element, and that's getting way faster. But we need more tricks like that. So it's like so we can understand the idea actually, but we still have yet have yet gone to the level that it's easy to use actually. But now those kind of algorithms or the use cases are now getting a little bit worse. Knowledge base is actually stored at this moment. And form elements, you need to create your own actually. You cannot use the select element and and for the like Android or especially iOS, because it does looks very weird. Or if you want to fix top and bottom parts, I cannot say this is the way to go, because there are so many ways to do that. It depends on how you want to implement or design your application, but you need to Google it actually. There are so many tricks, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who are feeling discussing about this, so you will quickly find your way to for your problem actually. And the responsiveness, well, CSS media query is absolutely for that. There are some Android devices which actually doesn't support CSS media queries, but we need to ignore that. But other than that, it's actually working. And JavaScript. So those common problems actually are actually in a sense, well, it's actually difficult to understand or difficult to implement, but somehow they have a way to overcome, and that's a very important thing, because then there is a next thing, because everybody is actually confronting with the same difficulty. Now a big change is actually a framework. So framework is something that embeds all those kind of know-hows and make it pack as one package, right? So AngularJS backbone knockouts. So those are the frameworks where you will be able to use if you want to stack with something. And actually, because I know I like Ruby so much, I know that Ruby was actually he invented Matsumoto-san invented like 20 years or quite long years ago. But actually, nobody actually knew about Ruby, especially here in United States. But what happened was Ruby on Rails. So Ruby Rails from DHH, he created that. It was the first Ruby framework that does very good job, and then it changed everything. So no, I think it's not only a language. So JavaScript is very good, but we need to have some way to use that language more efficiently or more easier to adapt to your problem or your solution. And I think that's a framework. So Ruby had Rails, PHP had like Cake PHP or Symfony, and that helped. I think that helped their language getting more popular and getting more user base and getting more to an enterprise level. And I think it's the same as HTML5. So those frameworks, I think they are very promising, and I think they drives HTML5 or PhoneGap apps to that level. And then one more big technology is coming. That's a web component. Unfortunately, only Chrome or several other browsers are supporting web component in native level, but there are several projects like AngularJS or Polymer or Bricks, Xtag. Those are the libraries which are polyfilling that web component into your framework. And for Cordova or PhoneGap users, you can use AngularJS to create a web component based application. And that's something I was very excited about actually. So that's why we created a framework called Onsen UI, which is a pure web component based, inspired JS framework. So everything is, tags, and it's aiming for, performance and ease of use. So I can, include all the things we've learned so far in these 5 years and make it as a framework to make user interface more easier and, and behaves more quicker. And now I feel PhoneGap apps has gotten very easier to develop, even for light engineers, because now even my team, the designer, can even create PhoneGap applications which really look like native, which cannot be done before. So it's something, very happy for me, and I can increase more sales in my company as well. But still, well, developing UI is difficult, so that's why not only providing pieces, we also created all those common UIs to those pieces. And that's the Onsen UI CSS components, which I just really quickly show what it looks like. So hold on a sec. Oops. I don't know how I can. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I wasn't prepared. Okay. This way. Oops. It's very. Oh, the screen is too large. But so this is it's still loading. This is a component site. So I'm turning something turn around. So usually UI frameworks provides widgets, and it's your responsibility to combine those widgets and create your own application. That's very good, I think. If you're a designer or you're very brilliant, you can create as many your own design as you can. But usually there aren't so many patterns actually in mobile applications. So what we did, we actually picked all the top 10 applications from all the category and categorized and make something that comes with those applications and make it everything as HTML5. So actually this is coming from something called Twitter, I think, and this is coming from something called Facebook. But actually those are HTML5. So it's it's something actually in a user interface we can do it actually, and it's actually fully working. So so like those things and those tabs, those are working, and this is this is how you can actually start creating. So this is my concept after all, and you can get the HTML and CSS from here. Or the good thing is that there is a find component where, as a professional user, you want to find some of the component from here. So you can actually if you want to have this tab bar, you just click here and you just get the tab bar source code. So if you change something here, so it says 1 here. If you change here, it refreshes. It's a little bit slow here, the networking speed, but it's changed right away like this. And you can see, and you can actually customize the look and feel or the color scheme or, adjust the colors and see it more like your app. So this is actually, the collection of components. So I'm putting the web component-based components here. So these are the components. But you can also, don't worry about, picking your own component and composing your own. You can actually just browse. Oh, it's getting slow now. Yeah, you can just browse and pick the source code and, copy it to your Cordova project or copy it to our Monaca IDE and you're good to go. So this is my concept after all, and it actually helped my designers to create application more quickly, and that's actually very good. So, well, actually this is slightly end of my presentation, but so if I look back these 5 years, 2009, well, customers, demand very high standard in aspects of your app now compared to 5 years ago. So we are more like a development company than a tool provider actually, because I've created all of the tools to increase productivity for my team and making something more to make satisfaction to Japanese users who demands more higher standard, right? So yeah, they're very noisy and very they're keep telling me that there's bugs on this specific Android device, and I cannot say oh okay, so you can ignore it, but right, like Silicon Valley way maybe, I don't know, but in Japan we cannot do that. So that's why I need to have a real testing application which can just do testings now, and that's why So HTML5 is a strong option now for many applications. You can actually create web applications or PhoneGap application. I think the good thing about PhoneGap or Cordova is that you can extend beyond the standard HTML5. Like say, maybe you're brave enough, you can use our native UI component on top of your HTML5 application. And that actually runs very native, actually. But it's just complicated. But something like that. So actually, there was actually no shortest path because I took more than 5 years actually to come to this point. But actually, I want you to mention that each techniques you can find it via Google or Stack Overflow actually. But there's no place to keep up to date information with that knowledge store and everybody's there and try to fix their problems. That's what I wanted to do, and that's why the Japanese users are using our tool to develop every day because their ecosystem was there. And now I'm starting to create ecosystem, and the thing is that we are helping my team are now helping those people registered here and create their awesome applications, and that's why we built Monaca and Onsei UI. So thank you very much for today. So I will submit this slide very, very soon. It's Monaca _IO. It's my Twitter account. It's our Twitter account. So if you access to that, you will get on my slide shortly. So if you have any questions, I'm very happy to hear that. And also, well, again, Monaca is actually a free project, and it's starting from free. Now I'm getting getting told from the Japanese people that we need to make money from there. So that's why I'm doing some commercial versions as well. But typically, most of the things are actually provided for free. So even for commercial. So please just give it a try and please give us feedbacks. Thank you very much. And